So let's take a look at the user interface of Blocs for iPad. Let's open the app, see the recent projects we have been working on. We can see iCloud Drive on my iPad, and both of these actually have the Blocs folder. I will be using the Blocs folder in iCloud to sync the projects between my devices. To create a new project, click on the plus icon or click on Create Document. And you can select a template or empty page. You can click on any template to preview it. These are cool templates, but for this video, let me show you how to create a project from empty page. And Blocs will ask you to type the name of your website, web address, set the language, choose the framework, and select the type of the page, as well as enable or disable the embed assets feature. I recommend to leave it enabled. After that, you can add one section and save this project to your iCloud folder, for example. So as I said, I will be utilizing the Blocs folder in iCloud Drive so I can later open this project on my computer. We can type the name here as well as set some tags if you're using this, and click Save. So now when we go to iCloud Drive, you will see that we have this project created here. We can open it and continue to work where we left off. Let me show you how to create a project using the template because I want to use this to showcase the user interface of Blocs for iPad. So we will skip the setup process for now and focus on what elements we have on our canvas. When you open the app for the first time, you will actually see this screen, which will show you how to do some basic things. For example, adding blocks or sections, adding bricks or website elements like buttons or text, how to edit text, how to replace images, and so on. And of course, all of that will be covered later in this course. At the end, it will show you this very cool screen, which you can always access by going to Help, Interface Help. Here you can see what each of the icons in our user interface do. For example, Project Select is where we select our projects or browse our files. Undo is to undo the actions. Freehand mode is the mode when we can select any of the elements on our working canvas. For example, let's select some text. And from here, we can adjust padding or margin to adjust the spacing between the elements or move them around. Let's undo this for now and disable the freehand mode. Next, we have the quick edit tool, and this is the only tool enabled by default. You can see it in the bottom of the screen if you click on any element on our working canvas. And here we have 5 icons which allow us to select any element, move it up or down, duplicate it, delete it, or the last icon is actually the contextual menu, which will be changing depending on what element you choose. So for example, if we select the image, it will show us a few options here. If we select the text, it will show us some other options. For example, we can remove the classes to reset the style. For now, let's undo this because I liked how it looked before. You can drag this edit tool around to place anywhere on the screen, but I think that it is actually looks very good at the bottom of the screen here. As you can see, we can always enable or disable it, but I like to leave it on by default. Right under this, we have workspaces. There's a few options to choose from. Canvas fill will be the default one. This the website filling the whole available space. In addition to that, we can use sidebar on the right or sidebar on the left like this. You can also enable both of the sidebars if you want. These workspaces are very flexible and I will cover in detail what you can do here in the next video. But for now, let me also show you that you can use two fingers to zoom in or out to select the exact zoom level you want to have for your website here. You can always use the workspaces to reset the values to default ones. So after that, we have annotation and draw code. So annotation is useful when you, for example, reviewing the project with your client. You can draw over your website, and if you are done, you can quickly disable the annotation mode to get rid of the annotations. Draw code is a feature which allows you to draw different elements using the Apple Pencil. So it won't be working this mouse like this, but I have Apple Pencil here actually, and if I draw a line, this dot, it will be adding the element like this, header in this case. But in my experience, using the regular brick bar is faster and more reliable. So let's delete this text using the quick edit tool and move to the next area of our user interface. And this is of course master menu here on top, this breakpoint selector and preview mode. So breakpoint selector is what you will use to switch between the different device sizes. And you can still use the shortcuts command 1, 2, 3, 4 to switch between them quickly. Using the master menu on the left, we can find all of our settings, font manager and extension manager. So by clicking on this play button, we can enter the preview mode. And when you do that for the first time, it will show you a few guidelines. I am a big fan of this preview mode because it really allows me to check how my website will look on all types of devices. So I can double click on any of the screens here to enter the focus mode, double click to exit. You can preview them at the same time like that. By clicking on the plus icon, you can add new devices. So for example, let's add something smaller. Double click, preview how it looks. Double click to exit. The icon next to the plus icon allows us to switch to edit mode, where we can adjust the width and height of every of the screens here, delete them. And if we go to the third icon here, this is the draw mode. We can actually draw any screen size we want. We can name the screens, this any name we want, custom screen, for example. Double click, preview our website. You can always use two fingers to zoom in and out. We can delete screens, move them around, reload the content inside, rearrange them in any way we want. And all of that is inside the preview mode, which I think is very, very powerful. To exit the preview mode, click on the close button or use the escape key on your keyboard. Finally, on the right, we have the most important shortcuts for export, inspector, page navigator, layer tree, class, asset, and menu manager, code editor, and nodes. So export is used for publishing and exporting our website to a local folder or to the web server directly. Inspector is the most important one, which we'll be using all the time to adjust the visual design elements. And it will be changing depending on what you select. If it's text, it will show you typography. If it is image, it will show you some image attributes. Under this, we have Page Navigator, which will allow you to switch between the different pages. Layer tree, which is the skeleton of your website. It shows every single element you have on your working canvas. You can enable a few different modes here, for example, solo mode, which will focus on the single element you choose and show you where it is located in the layer tree. Under this, we have Class Manager. This all of the default and custom styles we have created for our website. By clicking on any of these, we can enter the class editor. You can see this new icon here. And inside, we can change pretty much everything about this element. Under it, we have the Asset Manager. This is all of the images and other assets like PDF files and so on. Menu Manager, which we will be using to adjust the menu items. Of course, I will cover this in detail in the separate video. Finally, we have Code Editor, where you can add code to your website, including additional CSS. And we have Project Notes, where you can store some important information for yourself. And by the way, there is this cool gesture when you slide from left or right to switch between the pages. So that's all for user interface. Again, focus on the screen to memorize what every element and tool does. And let's move on to the next video.